it's crazy. Like, what on earth? Why do people expend so much energy in hating you? So the first thing
I
to
don't
understand
know.
is that has nothing to do with you. Like, Lily, I know I was talking about how you were amazing and inspirational and you can transform lives and all that good stuff. I don't think you have it within you to inspire someone to mail something. That comes from
Okay.
them. It doesn't come from you. Yeah, are you feeling okay?
I'm getting over a 2-week cold.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
What do you do to take care of yourself when you get a cold?
I try to take NyQuil, DayQuil, a lot of cough drops, try to drink a lot of water, um, try to sleep.
Does that when you say try to sleep, is it do you not get enough sleep?
Um, yeah, lately, trouble sleeping.
I'm sorry to hear that. Is that because you're sick?
Um, no, just in general. I don't know, just recently, trouble
Okay.
sleeping.
Hmm. I'm not supposed to dispense medical advice over the internet, so this is not medical advice,
Yeah,
but
totally.
be
This is not
prepared.
nothing.
Okay.
Not got it.
So, recent studies have shown that honey lemon tea is actually equally effective to over the counter cough remedies. I mean, cold remedies when it comes to actually treating symptoms.
Okay.
So it's kind of bizarre, but apparently, like honey lemon tea works just as well. And I don't have a reference at my fingertips for that right now, but I think it's actually they were looking at kids. So this is a pediatric journal. So if you honey lemon tea, works well. I drink it a lot when I'm sick, and it has vitamin C and other anti-inflammatory properties that can be good for you. So,
Okay. I've been
but
drinking
that
tea too.
good,
Just doing everything I can to get better.
yeah, good. So and what am I calling you? I know
Lily?
that Lily. Okay.
Yeah.
So hi, I'm Alok.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So can you help me understand a little bit about what we're talking about today?
Sure. I don't understand myself. I thought we were talking about feelings or something. I don't know.
Okay. You don't understand yourself? That's a great topic. Not understanding your feelings is also a great topic.
Mm,
Sometimes people have a particular thing that they'd like to talk about or focus on. So I was just curious if that's the case with you.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't have a
That's
clear
great.
direction.
That's so can you tell me a little bit about hmm do you I'm just curious about if I should just ask you about sleep and we can kind of get to things through
Sure.
that.
Yeah,
So how long have you had trouble sleeping?
like 2 months.
Um what's been going on over the last couple of months?
Um, uh, I broke up with my boyfriend
Oh, hold on one
two
second.
months ago. Okay.
Sorry. Shit.
It's okay, it's okay.
Hello?
Hi.
Okay, she's kind of loud. Okay, thank you. All right, bye. So, my mods try to sometimes get my attention when I'm talking to people, but I'm so
Yeah.
absorbed in the person that I'm talking to
I mean, that's a good thing.
that I've given them permission to call my cell phone, and they were saying that you're too loud. Is she better now?
Am I better now? Test. Hello. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. Double rainbows, a
Better?
phenomenon of
Better. Okay.
optics. Plays a spectrum of
Okay.
light. Okay.
Okay. All right. So you were saying 2 months ago you broke up with your boyfriend,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you haven't been able to sleep since then.
Not well, cause I guess we're just getting. He cheated on me,
Oh
so
shit!
yeah, and it was super super hard.
I'm
And
sorry to hear
ever
that.
since then, uh, yeah, sleeping's really hard. Yeah.
What happens when you try to sleep?
So usually, sorry, hold on. So
Let's pause for a second. What are you feeling?
just sad. Sorry. Sorry.
What are you apologizing for?
I can't control being sad.
Where do you get the presumption that you have to control being sad? Where does that come from?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Sorry. I just um okay, yeah, just apologizing for nothing is a bad habit. I'm trying to break that.
Okay. So I want to point something out. So if apologizing for nothing is a bad habit and you're trying to break that, are you judging yourself for apologizing too much?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's something that we're going to keep an eye on, because I think that's something about, we're just going to put a pin in that. We'll come back to that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right. I hope we will. But um, how does it? Do you
Uh,
feel like you're not allowed to be sad?
sometimes cuz well, I stream for a living, right? So I don't like I don't want it to seem like I'm throwing like a pity party, I guess, cuz um like I don't want to appear like I'm not strong, but I don't think, does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Like as a public figure.
yeah. So do you think that? Okay. So this is great. I'm glad we're talking about this. What do you
Yeah.
think? So if you are sad on stream, what is that? How do you understand the impact of that? Is that like a good thing, or is it a bad thing? Are you disappointing people?
I think sometimes I rely too much on like sadness or depression or stuff like that. I joke about it a lot because I think I do a lot of self-deprecating humor and stuff like that. I'm trying to not because I don't want to be seen as like I don't want that to just be me, right? Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, so let's understand something very subtle that you said. I don't want to be seen as, and I don't want that to be me.
Yeah.
Those are two very different things.
Mm, okay.
Does that make sense or no?
Kinda. Sorry.
Yeah.
Confused.
Yeah. So I agree. So I think this is what I've already noticed with streamers is that the person, it gets confusing like who you are, because don't want to be seen a certain way and you don't want to be a certain way, but the way that you're perceived and the person that you are like fundamentally different things. But I think a
Mm,
lot of times people get into trouble because they start like those two things become blended.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
So what are you when it comes to being sad, why do you apologize for feeling sad? Let's not judge it, let's not say it's bad, because I don't
Okay.
necessarily think it's bad. Let's try to understand why you're doing that and where that's coming from.
I guess I feel bad that I fall back on like depression humor and joking about it like too much. Like every time I turn on my stream and I talk about my feelings or whatever, it always comes back to like depression or sadness or something like that. And I don't like that, I guess.
What don't you like about that?
I feel like I should be more positive. Like
Why?
I don't, I don't know if people watch me to feel sadder,
Okay,
I guess.
great, so let's explore that for a second. If
Okay.
you talk about sadness, how do you think other people feel who are watching?
Um Sometimes they say like it's cool that I talk about sadness because they can relate. But other times I get the feeling that, oh, Lily's talking about depression again, you know?
You get that feeling,
Mm.
right? So let's tunnel down into what you said again, because I think this is important. Sometimes people say that it resonates with them and it helps them relate. And other
Mm-hmm.
times you get the feeling that, oh, Lily's talking about sadness again.
Yeah.
Do people say, oh, Lily's talking about sadness again?
Very rarely.
Yeah, so how do you understand that?
I guess I take it too seriously. It's not, I don't think, I think that's like a very minority.
Yeah.
Most people find it relatable, but
Yep.
I, yeah. I
So
guess I worry that I talk about it too much anyway. I don't know if that's good or not.
Yeah, so let's take a step back from what's good and what's not good. Because in
Okay.
my experience, judgment doesn't help us so much. I think let's start with understanding, and then we can sort of decide from a clear mindset, like what we want to do and what we don't want to do, like what we want to cultivate and what we don't. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm already noticing that if you're concerned about something, how do you think that shapes your perception of whether that thing is happening or not?
Um, if if I'm worried about something, I feel like it becomes a reality, even if it's not real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what it does. Right? So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
concerned that my hair is looks silly and then I'm walking down the street and someone looks in my direction,
Mm-hmm.
I just automatically assume that they're looking at my hair because it's silly, even though
But
it's
no
a
one
street
looks at it.
and there are just going to be people looking in my direction, right? So you're absolutely correct that sometimes if we are concerned about something, we feel like we get information to reinforce it.
Yeah, that that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I
And
think
and
I get let it get to my head too much.
yeah, so that too, but that's normal, right? So I'm noticing subtle amounts of judgment when you say I let it get to my head too much. That implies that there's another side to that statement, which is that you should let it get to your head less. Do you see that?
Mm, yeah.
And so these statements, the self critical statements, are like they're very reflexive for you. Do you
Yeah, they
you
are. They
you
I've always done this and I wish I didn't, but it just slips out. I
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's a pattern of the mind, and it's unfortunate that you do that in the sense that it causes you suffering. But I do think that we can try to understand like where you learned how to do that, and
Mhm.
hopefully teach you a different way to like think about yourself.
Mhm.
Um, but let me just kind of go back to the streaming thing because I think so. I'm gonna just think for a second. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, of
I'm
course.
just I'm just trying to make a mental list of like stuff to think about and not lose
Mhm.
track of.
Sounds good.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the statement that you made that you sometimes you feel like you talk about it too much.
Mm.
So in the context of what we're talking about now, this is kind of a weird abstract read my mind question, but what do you think about that? Like do you think you
Uh,
actually talk about depression too much?
I genuinely think sometimes I do fall back on it too much. Cause, well, when you stream like every day, for example, right? There's only so many things you can talk about yourself. Like stream knows a lot of things about me already, right? And I guess like out of habit, I just talk about depression because it was such a big part of my life at one
Uh-huh.
point. Yeah.
And if you talk about it too much, like what is that, how do you know what's too much?
Uh, I guess it's just my own personal way of quantifying it. Like, oh, I talked about this the last stream and the last stream. I shouldn't talk about it this stream. Oh, I made a joke about it again. Oops.
Yeah, so why do you think people come back to your stream? Like do you think people are looking for like in general when you're watching something on Twitch, how do you decide who to watch?
I have no idea. I
Okay.
don't know why people watch me.
Do you have a yeah, but do you watch people on Twitch? I'm making an assumption here, but
I watch my friends a lot to
okay.
support them.
And let's talk about restaurants actually. So when you're
Okay.
going to a restaurant, why do people like do you go to like do you have some favorite restaurants in the area?
Yes.
Okay. So like what are some of your favorite restaurants?
There's this really nice Thai place and it has really nice Thai iced tea and it's walking distance.
Oh wait, you mean that you go to the Thai restaurant again and again for Thai iced tea?
Yeah,
You don't
it's
go for
pretty good.
something different every time?
Um, sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I'll explore the menu a little, but mostly because it's walking distance and it's good and it's cheap and yeah.
Yeah, and you sort of consistently you go there for consistency, right?
Yes.
So in general, like when I watch things, like I know I tend to watch things like so when I like Dota,
Okay.
and I know you sometimes play League of Legends, right?
Do you like League of Legends?
Less so, but I know that
Oh,
that's gonna earn
can
me
I
a
add
lot of
you?
fire. Can you
Sorry.
add me?
If you play League of Legends.
I don't play League of Legends,
Oh,
but
you don't play League of Legends.
yeah,
Oh, sorry. I thought you
yeah,
did. Oh.
no. But I probably should because most of the people that I know play League of Legends, so I may
You
install
should. It's a nice game.
it. But for example, like when I watch, like when I go to like the Dota streamers, like I'm not going to the Dota streamers to watch football
Mm.
or cooking. I'm going to them to watch Dota. And why do you think? I mean, you sort of talk about, so you talk about depression a fair amount on stream.
Mm-hmm.
You think you talk about it too much. But what I'm guessing is that, and based on what you've told me, like it sounds like that resonates with people. And maybe part of what they like about stream is that you can play League of Legends and you probably have some fun other content that you do. And sometimes you talk about depression.
Mm.
And that the people who probably feel a little bit sad and lonely and are somehow inspired by some of the work that you do like to see that you're like a complex human being who has a full range of feelings because it sort of allows them to have a full range of feelings. What do you think about that?
Paints it in a very wholesome light. Like when you
Yeah.
say it like that.
So when you say paints it in a very wholesome light,
Oh God.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering is there a part of you that's sort of like, yeah, that sounds great, but that's not really how it is?
It's like I want to believe that.
Good. Right? But you
Yeah.
don't.
Um. Like I 60% believe it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
good.
is
So that's what I'm
around
saying
100.
is that there's an undercurrent of a but, which is perfectly fine. So let's just
Okay.
notice that, right? Which
Okay.
is that I'm painting it in a rosy light, but that there's like
Uh-huh.
something else that's like there's a party that's kind of like bullshit. Yeah. Okay, so good.
Always.
Yeah. What?
Sorry.
You
Just
said
keep verbal
always?
diarrhea.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
mean,
I live on verbal
verbal
diarrhea.
diarrhea. Okay, good. Small
Y-
voice in your head that's
so
like, you know.
yeah, so our goal here is to understand the different voices in your head, right? So there's a part of you that sort of thinks that in theory what I'm saying is fine, but that just doesn't feel real to you.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, I have days where I'm like, yeah, people are watching me because they like watching me. I'm cool. Like, I'm awesome. And I have days where I'm like, dude, you don't deserve these viewers.
How
There
long
are
have you
days.
there are days. And what kind of person doesn't deserve those viewers? Can we talk about the person that you are on those days?
Sure. Okay, well, I think I got into streaming by like complete luck, really. Like, if you start streaming now, I know like the market is like super saturated, right? Super hard to get into. I was lucky to start years ago when it wasn't that saturated. I'm lucky enough to have like I live in a streamer house. That helped me a lot. Um, when I got cheated on my boyfriend like 2 months ago, that whole drama gave me like a huge influx of viewers. So that was like very sudden, right? Like I got thousands of views for some reason. Um, so sometimes on those days, it's like, am I doing enough to deserve this success? I guess.
Hmm. And I I think that makes a lot of sense. Have you I'm going to think for a second. Is that okay?
Go no, think. Oh yeah, think. Thinking is good.
Thanks for the somebody just gifted a bunch of subs. Bonds Chorno. Thanks for the gifted subs.
Oh, and
Okay, let
thanks
me
for the raid the other day. I didn't realize, but thank you.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. Um okay, so you sometimes have self-critical thoughts about yourself, right? Like you sort of
Mm.
say that I don't deserve. So, let me ask you this. Is it that you don't know what you've done to deserve this and you're pleasantly surprised, or is there a part of you that feels like actually you don't deserve this?
I'm like pleasantly surprised. Like
Okay.
I feel so lucky.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just really hard to take in. Like, wow, what did I do to deserve all of this?
Yeah. So, okay, very good. So, why is it hard to take in?
Um, sorry, I'm like emotional today. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What are you feeling?
Because
When I ask that question, what are you feeling?
Um, sorry. I feel
Do you need a minute?
sad.
Yeah, just take a minute. Let's just feel what you're feeling. Close your eyes for a second. Tell me what you're feeling physically in your body.
Anxious.
What does that mean?
Um, uh, I feel frustrated. I try to talk, and I can't talk if I cry. I'm trying not to cry. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. So let's try not to talk, because let's just talk about this for a second, okay? You're coming on here with the expectation that you're supposed to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not what you're here for. Because you talking is for who?
Myself? I don't know.
I don't think so. Because if I mean I think you talking is probably more for the viewers, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
Sure.
not worry about them, because I try my best. I mean, I mean, no offense to anyone who's watching, but like I think that this is really just about me and you. This is a
Okay.
conversation between two people that thousands of people happen to be watching.
Okay.
But let's not try to do something for them. Let's just try to do something for you. And if
Okay.
that means periods of awkward silence, then it's
I'm good
periods
at
of
that.
awkward silence. Okay?
Okay.
Because I think what is actually going to benefit them the most is if you, instead of trying to push down your feelings and talk to give a performance, you just give yourself the time and space to feel what you feel, you understand what you feel, and then I think that's what helps people.
Okay.
So, and we'll get back to the sadness, because I can see it's going away a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is going away?
Yeah. It's just sorry. Gotta let it out sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I
Good.
cry a lot in general.
Okay. Okay. How what's that about?
Crying?
Yeah. Like what do
It
you mean
just
by
feels
cry a lot?
it just feels like therapeutic sometimes, just crying, letting it out, like
Yeah.
cathartic. Like I just want to let it out, you know?
Yeah. And do you feel better afterward?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
I
Do
really
you cry on stream?
I try not to.
Okay. Okay. Um so I think the most recent batch of crying happened when I asked you why it's hard for you to, that feeling lucky is like it's hard for you, right? So feeling like people actually care about you and that you're lucky and that you're successful, like it seems to me that it feels kind of, it's hard for you. Why do you
Yeah.
think that is? How do you understand that?
Again, I think it ties into the whole like because I got like God, it's so hard to talk about. The influx of viewers, right? From the drama thing, whatever. That and I just wonder what I'm doing really. Like, yeah, I turn on my stream, I do my thing, like I talk about my feelings or draw or like play music or whatever, right? But sometimes I do it and I'm just like, is this like entertaining? Like, is this fun to watch? Like, why? And um I don't think I'm like that special.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what I'm hearing from you is you don't deserve what the world is giving you.
Mm. And then sometimes people say like, "Oh, you only have viewers because you're a girl," or like, you have a cute voice, or you're faking your voice, or whatever the hell they say about me. Um, or like just stuff, or like because of your roommates who are more popular than you, or stuff like
And how does that sit with you?
that. Doesn't make me feel good because I'd want people to watch me because uh just because of me, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I also think like there's like bunch of people out there who are, more talented, more prettier, more entertaining. So sometimes it's like, and I also worry about like relevancy too. And Twitch streaming is super important. You could be a nobody in a month, right? And this is my job. So
Okay, so I'm hearing a lot of different things. I'm going to
okay, yeah,
try to go through these like one at a time. So the first is that there's a part of me that feels like you don't feel like you deserve success. That's why you use the word luck,
mm,
right? Like if we think about why people invoke luck, it's because like luck is like on one end of the spectrum and like something that you deserve or worked for or earned. Like earned and luck are on two opposite ends of the spectrum, right?
yeah.
And there may be luck involved, I don't know, but the first thing that I understand when you say that you kind of feel lucky, so there's a difference between feeling privileged and grateful that people are interested in you and supporting you and things like that, and I get the sense that you definitely feel that way.
I do.
And there's also like another feeling that can happen, which is like, what's sort of wrong with these people and why are they interested in me? Because there are people who are, as you put it, prettier and what, more
More
talented,
entertaining, more
more,
talented,
yeah,
just better.
that are
Yeah.
better than you, right? So
Mm.
that implies to me that somewhere along the way you feel like you got the idea, or there's a part of you that believes that you don't deserve to be successful.
Sometimes.
And so my question for you, and then there's the haters, which we'll get to in a second, but
Yeah, okay.
um my question to you is like, how long have you felt like you don't deserve to be happy or successful?
Um, I feel like it's like since I started almost because I got into this job by luck, you know? When you first start off, I think a lot of things are kind of by luck, you know? You kind of
Sure.
stumble upon it. Oh, all of a sudden it's my job. I can do this. And I used to be super inconsistent, even more so than now. I used to literally just not get out of bed and maybe stream like once a month if my fans were lucky. Um, I was super low effort, super low effort, and like for some reason I still had fans who would still watch me, right? So luckily I got into this streamer house that helped motivate me to work more and become like a more consistent streamer. Um, yeah, and I guess, and also that again, I keep bringing this up. It was a huge thing where I got like a poop ton of viewers, right? All of a sudden, almost overnight, and then it made me think like, oh, what can I do to like deserve these viewers? How can I make them stay? How can I feel like I'm like be happy as this type of streamer? I guess.
Can you help me understand what happened? I mean, you because you do keep coming back to this. So you got an influx of viewers because you got cheated on by your boyfriend?
Yeah, in a very public manner. It was super public. Even my parents heard about it. It was like there were articles. It was just shit tons. Sorry, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, like just I won't curse. Tons of videos about it. Threads, people messaging me. Like it was overwhelming
Wait,
for me.
so I'm new to Twitch.
Yeah,
So can
okay.
you help me understand why your boyfriend on cheating on you? And
Because
pardon
we
me,
were a
because
very public couple.
so you
A lot
guys
of my
like you're
content.
like a celebrity,
I don't like that
right?
word.
I mean I don't like the word either, but from the boomer world where I
A-list
come from,
celebrity. Yeah,
it,
yeah, okay, fine. Like a pseudo celeb. It's not
right? So
real
like I've
celebs.
never heard. I mean, so I have I know people in my life who sometimes deal with infidelity, and I've never heard about anyone writing articles about it.
Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, there were some articles. There were.
Yeah,
It was.
that's
It's because we were a very public couple. I
Okay.
involved him in a lot of my content, actually, like everything.
Okay.
I drew him, we did music together, we collabed together. Like I was super serious about because when it comes to relationships, I'm very like if I choose someone, I'm hard committing. Like I see myself with you for the rest of my life.
Oh wow.
So yeah, we were together for 2 years or so, and I found out when I was in Japan, in another country, um, with him, with all of our friends. And then I, I didn't want it to blow up, but it did. And and
What?
sorry, I,
No, go ahead.
I still feel bad about that. Like, if there's
Feel
one thing I could change, I would try to make it more private, break up nicely. Instead, like everyone knows about it, and um, I felt bad because he also got like a lot of hate. Sorry, I don't think anyone deserves that amount of hate, even if you fuck up. And then ever since then, um, that's where the trouble sleeping comes from. I think from then, I haven't been able to really sleep. I've been trying to distract myself, um, but
distract yourself from what?
just just feeling like this, I guess.
And how do you feel?
Really sad still.
What does that mean, sad?
I'm sad because I wish it didn't happen. I wish the entire internet didn't know about it. I wish things could just go back to normal. But I know it's never gonna be like that again. So I've been trying to, yeah, distract myself, just try to move on, And I sometimes feel like just kind of weak, I guess, because I feel like I should be over it by now.
Okay, Lily, I don't think sad is the best word to describe what you're going through. I think what you need to do to move on. So first of all, I know that you blame yourself for not being good enough, and that's a theme. So I'd like to talk, at some point maybe we can talk about that. Maybe not today actually, because I'm getting the sense that maybe understanding is actually even a little bit premature just with where you are. And I think the first thing that I'd like to share with you is that I think what you need to do is grieve. I don't know if you've ever thought about it like this.
I tried grieving. I know it's bad, but I drank a lot. Just crying, letting it all out. I think like there are days where I'm like, okay, I'm good. I can do this. But then I get days where it's like, fuck, it hurts. It just hurts.
Yeah, so I don't think drinking is grieving,
Oh, it's not. I know.
right?
It's just
And
me just trying to like cope and distract. I know it's bad.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I know.
So
I know.
so let's just think about grief. So like what are the things that you do when you grieve for someone? Have you like has someone that you care about passed away?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a person.
No, yeah.
So if we think about like when someone is it okay if we talk about that for a second?
Sure. Yeah.
Because what I'm hearing from you is that you'd like to move on from this, right?
Yes.
And in a sense, I think you're doing a good job because there are days that you're able to like kind of fully function. It sounds like you're able to find joy and happiness and pleasure in life. And then there are days where this thing kind of like rears its ugly head.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's how grief works. So grief doesn't, it's not like you beat a level. It's like once you beat a level, like you randomly go back to that level when grief decides that we're going to go back to that place. But I wonder if there's also some ways in which we can help you move on. I mean, I even want to say like faster sounds like the wrong sentiment, but
Mhm.
for us to understand what you're going through, and if there's some way that like if we can understand what you're going through, maybe we can make the process easier or less bumpy for you. And my first thought is like when you think about someone that you lost, do you think that you've grieved for that person or animal appropriately? Like, do you feel like you're in a good place with that?
All I do is just cry. Is that good? I don't
Yeah,
know.
sure, but I mean, do you still cry about the person that you lost?
I do. I do.
Does it feel bad when you cry?
Um, not necessarily. It feels again cathartic, I guess.
Yeah, so that's important, right? So like there are two kinds of crying. There's the crying that sort of feels good at the end of it, and then there's the crying that sort of can also sort of feel good temporarily but isn't quite cathartic and doesn't
Mhm.
lead to less crying. There are two
Yeah.
kinds of crying. There's the cathartic crying, which over time leads to less crying and processing of feelings. And then there's the crying that sort of just is experiencing awfulness that doesn't necessarily decrease the amount of awfulness down the road. You with me?
Yes, I would.
And what are we calling your boyfriend? What should I just say your boyfriend, or do you want to use a name?
His name is Albert.
Okay. So when it comes to Albert, um, when you cry about that, which way does it feel?
It doesn't feel cathartic. It
Yes.
feels more like I'm grieving that I lost it and I want it back, but I can't. Like it's like just a loss, I guess.
Yeah. So, and this is going to be kind of weird, but um,
Yeah.
do you feel confident that you can be in a good, committed, healthy relationship again?
I don't know if I want to commit. 'Cause that idea is like it's really scary now, I guess, because
Yep.
I put everything into this and he did that. So what's to say that's not gonna happen again? Or it just feels very scary, like the idea of committing yourself to one person now, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I mean, I imagine if I were in your shoes, I would be terrified of it. And
Very, and not only that, because like my whole brand is just really being open with my viewers as well. I tell them a lot of things. So if I were in a relationship, right, I'd want to share it and want them to be part of my life.
mm,
But last
then
time
it
that
becomes
happened,
public.
it was so yeah, it became public and it became so messy and like I don't want to like deal with that ever again. It's scary.
Yeah. So I'm noticing a tension within you, and sort of like, even if you had another relationship, do you sort of stay true to kind of the unspoken promise to your fans, which is that they get to see the inside of your life, and thereby open yourself up to, the pain of a very public and, you know, commented on breakup, where apparently he also got a lot of hate?
Hmm.
Or do you change the way that you interact with your fans, which sounds like it's probably compromising or sacrificing something?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
if because it feels bad hiding such a big part of my life. I like having if I had a significant other, I'd want them to be, just part of what I do. Like I want to collab with them. I want to spend time with them. I want to work with them. I want to do things with them. So it's like it's weird.
Sounds like your relationship with it's Albert.
Yes.
With Albert was pretty perfect.
It seemed like I thought I'd marry him. I thought it was like, he was great. I really really loved him. Like he we yeah we had a lot of similar interests. We played music together. We got along really well. I had no idea that he was unhappy. Zero clue. Um,
How do you know he wasn't happy?
cause we talked afterwards. He told me the reasons why. Cause I
Okay.
wanted to know. And
Okay.
yeah. And I felt bad because he bottled a lot of things in too.
Hmm.
I wish he told me, but he didn't, and that just manifested in this really ugly manner, and just felt bad, just really bad
What does that mean, bad?
that he couldn't tell me that you couldn't communicate with me. Like, I would have done anything to fix whatever, right? I really would have done anything. Um, but he told someone else. So I felt bad. Like, I know you're not supposed to compare yourself, but I, I'm like, what did they have that I didn't?
Mhm.
And I thought I was a good girlfriend, but I guess I wasn't.
Yeah, Lily, there's something very subtle and honestly dangerous that you're doing. I think you're accepting a lot of responsibility for things that are not your responsibility. So, like, I'll just put it to you bluntly. Like, there's something that really makes me angry at the thought that someone feels like this, that if a relationship didn't work out, and I hear you say that, I mean, I have no idea what kind of girlfriend you are or what kind of boyfriend Albert is, or so I can't judge this.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear this thread consistently in what you're saying, that you kind of say, like, you weren't good enough of a girlfriend, whereas, like, I don't know if that's true. Right? Like, I'm hearing this theme of, like, I wasn't, like, if he had told me, I could have done something about it, and you feel like that's sort of a deficiency on your part, that he wasn't
Sometimes, like, maybe I was too clingy. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right. So
Like,
so just notice what you're doing there is, like, you're accepting responsibility for, like, everything that happens around you. Right? That if you had been better, he would have been able to be more open. If you had been a more better girlfriend and less clingy, like, he would have stayed. If you had been more entertaining or more talented or more attractive, you would have gotten these viewers without drama.
yeah.
Do you see that thread? So, like, I think we've got to, and I'm really struggling here, because there's a part of me that says that you're hurting right now, and there's something that is really at the top of mind for you, which is this relationship and how you're kind of thinking about yourself. But there's another part of me that says that all of this stuff comes from, like, one common place, because it's like the same theme,
Mm-hmm.
which is that, like, Lily sometimes isn't good enough. And I'd like to understand, I mean, I'm torn, so maybe you can help me out. Like, what do you
Okay.
think we should talk about? Should we try to understand where that comes from, or should we talk about Albert and sleep and how you feel in the process of grieving?
I have no idea.
I
Um,
don't either.
I am very indecisive.
Okay, well, that makes two of us. So what are we going to do about that?
um, maybe the first one then.
Okay. So,
Or the second. Can you pick for me? I'm sorry.
nope, not going
I,
to pick for you.
oh, I'm gonna coin toss.
Okay.
Wait, what are your choices? Okay, just um,
I mean, so the choices are, like, do you want to talk about the last 2 months and sleeping and grieving and relationships,
uh-huh.
or do you want to talk about where you got the idea that you're not good enough?
Maybe not good enough then.
Okay.
That seems more. Yeah,
What happened to your indecisiveness?
I have to make a decision. I feel bad stalling.
Okay, I can live with that. So
Okay.
let me ask you, how long have you, so when you feel like you don't deserve success, let's say, and I know that you
Okay.
don't always feel that way, right? So this is something that
No, it
it's
just it comes
almost
and goes.
exactly. So like, let's just first appreciate that it's almost like something, there's like a dormant Lily. There's like the Lily who doesn't think that she's, like, good enough. Can we, like, conceptualize her that way?
Okay.
And then sometimes, like, is there some way that you can think of that we can kind of put a name to her?
Lily too.
Lily too. Okay. And so is there some way that, so how, and Lily too, like, sometimes wakes up in your mind, right? There are days that something is happening, like some days you get out of bed and it's like Lily too who's running the show. And you're
Yeah.
self-critical and you're self-judgmental. And there
Yeah.
are other days where it's like regular Lily is running the show. And
Yeah,
you
it's
can
happy
feel
Lily.
grateful. What?
Yeah, I like that. I like
Yeah,
feeling like that. I wish I could feel like that every day.
we're going to get there.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not at the end of the hour, but we're gonna get there. So, um, and then there's certain there's certain things that, like, even if Lily 1 is like, if regular Lily is waking up and is living your day, something can happen at 3 p.m. where Lily 2 sort of takes over, right? Like some
Yes.
kind of interaction, or
Yes.
someone says something to you, or some
500%.
yes, right? So Lily 2 is like a part of you that wakes up or goes to sleep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And so the solution that we have is, oddly enough, not executing Lily 2 and dumping her in the river.
Would love to
But
do that though.
I know you would. But that's not how it works. And that's what happens every time, you drink to excess or whatever. Like, that's what distraction and coping is. It's pushing Lily 2 away. What we actually need to do is like let's just think for a second. How does Lily 2 feel?
How does Lily 2 feel?
Yeah.
Dread.
Okay. Dread about what?
Just everything.
Yeah. So dread, I think of as fear.
Uh-huh.
So Lily 2 is afraid of certain things happening. What is she afraid of?
Everything, like her career.
Yep.
Um
And what is the
her
fear about her career?
ta- streaming seems volatile,
Yep.
kind of scary.
Yep.
I want to do other things. I have other dreams that I don't know if I can fulfill, but I'm trying my best.
This doesn't sound like Lily 2 to me.
Sorry, this is Lily 1 or 2 or 3. I
We're
don't
talking about
know.
Lily 2. So, and that's okay. So let me just try to venture something, right? So I
Okay.
would imagine that if Lily 2 is waking up, which is sort of like the sad, depressed, Lily 2 isn't good enough, it's that she won't
Mm-hmm.
be able to cut it streaming. That one day she's going to wake up, and what she's afraid of is that people are going to realize that she doesn't deserve the success that she's getting, and that they're going to kind of see you for who you are, and they're going to move on to someone else.
Yeah,
Is that a fear of Lily 2? Is that accurate?
that's a fear. That's a fear. 100%.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
fear.
So what do you think that person needs? If your friend was, like, let's say, like, you say you live in a house full of streamers, right?
Yeah.
So if one of your friends says, like, voices those fears to you,
Uh-huh.
what do you do for her or him?
I try to reassure them that they are good enough. That they are good. They're great. They got here for a reason. That
Yeah.
I'm here to support them.
Okay. And how does
Yeah.
that work for your friend?
They would appreciate it.
Yeah. And so what do you say to Lily 2?
That you deserve it and you're good enough.
Is that what you say to Lily 2?
I try sometimes.
Good.
I
That's
should.
impressive.
Yeah.
That's really good. How does that work?
Sometimes it works. You know, like I tell myself, like, yeah, you're good enough. You can do this. Like, people like you. You're great. You know, you're good, and that's great. On the days it works, it's great.
And on the days that it doesn't?
Days it doesn't work, it's just like, fuck everything.
Okay.
I'm going back to bed.
Yeah, so like I just wanted to point that out to you for a second, because what you're doing to Lily 2 when you say actually you are good enough and you have worked hard, and
Mm.
from what I hear from you, I think you are. I mean, who deserves success is sort of a separate issue, but I hear a lot about what you've worked hard to do, and I mean, I think you're deserving of your success for the simple reason that you were telling me that you used to be consistent, and then it sounds like you made a lot of large scale changes to your life, and you put forth a lot of effort into, like, actually, doing a good job.
Hmm.
And that in spite of actually a lot of internal demons that you struggle with, you still manage to stream somewhat consistently and things like that, which I think is really amazing.
Thank you.
And also, that doesn't, so there's some days where that wins, but
Yeah.
but there are other days where it loses.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out that that's not actually like shooting Lily 2 and dumping her in the river, right? Does that make sense?
No,
Like
no,
there's a part of
not
you that
really.
wants to dump her in the river, and I suspect that that's part of the reason why this is so hard for you to shake, because I actually think that there's like a fight between like Lily 1 and Lily 2, but what you described is not a fight between Lily 1 and Lily 2. It's Lily 1 doing what for Lily 2?
Getting rid of her?
No.
Like, what?
No. Right? So when you tell yourself, what do you tell yourself when sometimes you're feeling down?
Oh, that you're good enough.
Is that getting rid of her?
No, it's not. Trying to support her, I
Yeah,
guess.
absolutely. That's the very opposite of getting rid of her.
Yeah, sorry, don't know why I said
Yeah, yeah. So and I think it's a normal, it's something that's very confusing. And Lily, I think you're actually one step ahead of the game, because most people when they have a part of themselves that feels like they're um very self-critical, self-judgmental, where you feel like you're not good enough, you
Uh-huh.
want to get rid of them, right? Like when I ask you, like, you want to dump them in the river, you're like, hell yes. I want to be
Yeah.
happy for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But what I think you actually need to do, which I'm really happy to hear that you're able to do this for yourself, is actually like actually I'm not going to say that. I'm going to ask you a few more questions.
Okay.
So let's think about where Lily 2 comes from. So how long have you, like, when, like, do you remember feeling that way, like, in the past?
Yeah.
Like, how long has Lily 2, and let's just be clear. So who is Lily 2?
The depressed one, the sad
Yeah.
one.
Yep. And
Yeah.
more specifically, what do we mean by depressed and sad?
The, I scared.
Okay, scared, I think. Do you, so I would say that what I'm hearing from you is that like Lily 2 isn't good enough.
Oh, yeah. That too.
That too. So it sounds like there's more to it.
No, no, that's probably it.
No, I mean, if there
No.
is, that's fine. So let's just try to understand. So, like, when you're feeling sad and depressed, when it
Mhm.
comes to thinking about Albert, is there a
Mhm.
part of you that feels like, there's a part of you that's sad because you had something beautiful and now it's gone. And
Mhm.
there's also this part of you that creates these thoughts like, oh, if I had done this, then he would have stayed. If I had
I
been better at listening, if I had been less clingy, then
times
that
like
could have worked out.
sometimes. I
Sometimes,
think
right.
yeah,
And
sometimes
so,
just sometimes. Hmm?
okay, so when you say sometimes, are there, how can I put this? I think there's a healthy sadness and there's an unhealthy sadness within you.
Mhm.
And that I think the healthy sadness is just, kind of the normal sadness. And sometimes that can be cathartic, as you put it. But
Yeah.
then there's an unhealthy sadness where you think certain thoughts about yourself and how the
Uh-huh.
relationship made you feel. That's not quite the same as like fearing relationships in the future and stuff, because that's kind of a
Okay.
different thing. But I do
Okay.
think there's like actually more than just two lilies. There's like Lily 3 and there's Lily 4.
There's a
But
lot of
right,
lilies.
there are a lot of lilies. And what I'd like to focus on is the one who leads you to thoughts like you were too clingy, or if you had been better, he would have talked to you, or things like that. Does
Hmm.
that make
Okay.
sense? We're going to
Yeah, it
focus
does.
on her. So, how long have you felt like you're kind of undeserving of success, or that you're kind of not good enough?
Mm, a long time.
Okay.
A long time. Uh, I don't know if I can pinpoint it, but it
Okay.
feels like it's been like just there all my life, right?
Okay. Do you have any memories of like things that happened when you were young that sort of made you feel that way?
Yeah. So I remember when I was younger, my parents were very traditional Korean. They wanted me to go to like a good college and stuff, right? I got depression in high school, and that made me feel like not good enough. And I ended up almost failing and went to community college. And then I had no idea what to do with my life. I had nothing to offer really. So I stumbled upon YouTube and streaming just by chance. I started
Hmm.
making like, cute little videos with voice acting and like art and stuff like that. People liked it. So I started doing that. Um But even throughout all that, I wasn't consistent. I thought everything I made was like whatever. But it gave me something to do, so I continued.
What do you mean by got depressed in high school?
Oh, okay. I used to fight a lot with my parents. I was very suicidal, very, very depressed. It took my mom some time to realize how serious it was. She didn't believe me at first. Uh, and then I just felt like really a failure, I guess, in high school because I would not get out of bed. I would refuse to go to school. I almost missed the minimal attendance thing, so I almost failed. And I remember I was talking with a counselor and she was like, "Yeah, your GPA is like 2.1 points, whatever, I don't give a fuck." I just did not care, I guess. I didn't know what
Yeah.
I wanted to do.
So, but I mean, it sounds like the fighting with your parents is a consequence of your depression, not the origin of your depression.
I guess I don't know how the depression started. I really
Okay.
don't.
Can you tell
Like,
me about what
just
middle school was like for you?
middle school was okay, actually. Like, up until, well, elementary school. Okay, so elementary school, there was a period of time where I had no friends for like 2, 3 years. That was hard. And then I got into middle school, I moved, and I made friends, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm happy." I thought it was generally, like, a happy time, I was doing well in school, I had friends, I was socializing, it was fun. I went to high school, the first year was fine, I remember. I was like I had a lot of hopes, I wanted to go to college, I wanted to, like, succeed, I wanted to do a lot of things. And then, like, 10th grade, started fighting with my parents a lot. Retreated into, like, internet forums and stuff, and
What would you fight with your parents about?
just I don't remember. It's like they would be really angry at me for, uh, like, just not going to school, not getting good grades, or just being really useless in general. Like, I literally did not do anything. I just stayed in bed all day, and I was playing a lot of video games at that time. They hated that. They hated me going on the computer so much that they hid and they used to hide the mouse and the keyboard in the basement, and when they
What
went
did
to
you
work,
play?
I would bring it up. I used to play a lot of, like, MMORPGs, a lot of them. I That was, like, my escape, just MMORPGs.
Hmm.
Uh,
And which ones?
yeah. I used to play Ragnarok Online a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, Ragnarok Online, there was MapleStory, just any, like, MMORPG around that time, like, I played them all, I tried them all. It was really fun, and I got into, like, I made friends on the internet, so I'm like, "No, I don't need friends in real life."
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
How did it feel when your parents were angry with you?
Felt really bad, like I was disappointing them. And they would like we got into these fights were really, really bad. Like there were parts where she would threaten to call like the psychiatric ward and like take me in and stuff. And like
Mhm.
she told me once, I remember, can't forget this. Like I was 15 years old. She was dropping me off at high school, I think. I mean, yeah, high school, of course. And we had a fight in the car, and she told me like she wished I was never born. So that stuck with me for a long time. My relationship with my parents are great, by the way, right now. It's like wonderful. But back then it was just so bad. So bad. Oh, and then she would also like um compare me a lot too to other children, right?
Mhm.
Like the whole like, oh,
Classic,
my
classic
coworker's daughter has like
Asian.
straight A's. So Asian, I know. And I'm like, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever, mom. I'm gonna go back to my MMORPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, very Asian.
Hmm.
I think she also made comments about my weight too. So I always felt like fat, even though I wasn't fat. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. So, how do you? How would that make you feel? And we're not trying to bash your parents here, okay? So
Oh no,
just
no, they're
for the
they're
record,
great now.
um, I think they just, I have Asian parents too. I mean, Indian parents, but um, my dad, when we were young, said, so I have an older brother,
Uh huh.
and this is the story that I would tell during med school interviews. So they would ask me, why do you want to be a doctor? And then I said, well, my dad, when we were growing up, said one of you is going to be a doctor and one of you is going to be a lawyer. and my brother is older than I am, so he got to choose first, and he went to law school, so here I
Oh,
am.
so you're the doctor. That's funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
that's cute.
So, I think Asian and South Asian parents are very similar in terms of, you have there's a very specific sense of what success is in life, and in a sense, I've come to realize it's not their fault. It's just because that's the formula for them, right? Like that's how they got to this country, is by like working
They
hard and not playing MMOs.
they did come around eventually, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And I think they realized how much they fucked up with me. So like my brother and I like to joke. He's my younger brother. I'm like the beta product, and he's like the final product. My brother had no issues. Like he went to like an engineering college. He's great. He's fine. He's super healthy.
And how are you?
Me?
Yeah.
Like in what way?
In the same way that you're talking about your brother.
Oh, I guess I found success. I know. Sorry, just microphone. Um, yeah, by chance, miraculously, my mom says it's a miracle. I somehow got here to where I am, and yeah, it's still very like wow to me still,
Yeah.
because I didn't know what I was gonna do for so long.
Sure. Do you? I'm still okay. I'm gonna need a second.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand. So I'm going to say something, and maybe this is not going to be fair, but I'm just curious whether Twitch chat is as confused as I am.
What
Right?
did I
Like,
say?
are you guys confused, or does this make sense to you?
What did I do? Did I say something wrong?
No, you didn't say anything wrong. It's just it blows my mind that, and it's hard because I think that I'm just going to think for a second. Okay. So I was about to say, it blows my mind that you're not able to see that you have value. I'm going to steer clear of this word success, but that you have immense value. And that just because you didn't follow the road that was scripted doesn't mean that you didn't find your own way, and that you are deserving of respect, because even more so than like just going to an engineering school, like you struggled and you found your own path. You forged a road, like you built a path that did not exist before. That despite all of your difficulties and all of the challenges that you faced, including depression, including parents who were not supportive back then, in spite of all of those things, you managed to get to where you are. And it blows my mind that you can't see it that way. But of course you can't see it that way. And the question is like, well, why not? And then it kind of comes back to, I'm going to just keep going. Normally I would stop because you're crying, but I'm just going to plow forward. Is that okay, Lily? Okay. Man, maybe I should ask you how you feel, but I'm just going to keep going. Okay. So I think this is a cathartic cry. That's what I'm going to guess.
Yeah, it's cathartic.
Okay. So I'm going to keep going. So then the question, like for a second there, I was about to say it blows my mind why you can't see that. But then of course, like you've actually already answered that. And it comes back to something that we talked about at the beginning of the interview, is when you believe something about yourself. Like if I believe that my hair is messed up and someone is walking down the street, like I'm going to perceive that that person is looking at my hair, even though that is like completely insane. And this is Lily too. Lily 2 is the person who keeps you from seeing that you were absolutely amazing and deserving of love and respect. and that you've like forged a path for yourself where, despite being, and this is going to be bizarre, less talented and less attractive, thousands of people watch you every time you stream. So rather than being undeserving, if we're really being scientific, we have to conclude that you have something else. Right? Like if you think about your favorite restaurants and the ones that have no tablecloths and crappy service and look like shit, and if people keep coming back over and over and over, why is that, Lily?
Because it's consistency.
Consistency of what? The service sucks. It looks bad.
They like something about it.
What do they like about the restaurant?
Could be anything.
What do you... Okay, so like maybe this is a harder question than I'm thinking it is, but... So when I think about a restaurant, I think about like, you know, food, service, ambiance, wait times, cleanliness.
Yeah.
And at the
Could
end
be
of the
anything.
day, I sometimes go to restaurants that have bad service, bad ambiance, and are dirty. Like a food truck.
But they
And
could
like,
go for the cute waiter, you know, even if everything else is shit.
they could, but why do they go back to that restaurant?
The food,
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, what you put in your mouth and what you're looking for, you get. Right? Like, because at the end of the day, if people are coming back to a restaurant, it's for the fucking food. And that you can make a good argument, I'm sure you can convince yourself of this because your mom taught you from a very young age, just like my parents did, that you can compare yourself to other people. And then now I kind of joke about it that, you know, I'm every Indian parent's dream and every Indian kid's worst nightmare because I'm a Harvard trained physician. Right? So you can convince yourself and compare yourself, but at the end of the day, there's no doubt in my mind that the people are coming to watch you because of you. And it's not about talent, and it's not about appearance, that you have the secret sauce. There's something just authentic and amazing about the person that you are that keeps people coming back. Because, like, I work with a lot of people who are sociopathic. I work with a lot of executives. And you can't keep up an act that long. There's got to be something legit. You just can't do it. Like, you can fool the world for like a day, a month, even a year, but you've been doing this for years, and people keep coming back. And you're not able to see that because you're not primed to see it. And you're not primed to see it because of Lily too. And when I hear about what your mom did, like, it sort of makes sense, right? Because what was sort of like the TLDR of the way, you know, your parents treated you in high school? What did you learn from them?
Disappointment.
Absolutely. Right? Disappointment. Why? Because what?
I wasn't good enough.
There we go. Right? And we see that. That's where Lily 2 is from. And I feel like we're bashing your parents. I really don't. They just did the best that they could. You know, they didn't understand
did
any
the
better.
best they could.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
And, you know, I almost failed out too. So, with you from playing too many video games. Not so much MMOs, more RTS and Diablo. But, you know, and I think, I just don't know. I mean, it makes me sad to see that, you know, you've started to think about yourself in a particular way, in terms of it. And it's actually like, there's a part of me that's sad, but there's a part of me that's kind of happy. And this is part of what's been confusing for me, is I think you've actually made a lot of progress, because I see Lily too, but I think it's amazing that you are able to actually see that you do demonstrate value and that, like, you aren't disappointed. Like, your fear is that, like, when I asked earlier, like, what does Lily 2 feel? You said dread. And then I asked, dread of what? And, like, you didn't really give me an answer, but I'd put money that it's dread of disappointment.
Probably. Yeah.
So what was it like hearing me say that?
Clarity. Bit more clarity.
Cathartic cry?
Yeah, that was
We'll take it.
cathartic cry. That wasn't sad cry.
So let me, and if you have questions and stuff, we can get to that. But let me just think for a second. So let me just start by saying this. The first thing is that the other thing that I think is actually really kind of cool and unfortunate is that I think sometimes, we suffer. And I think that I talk a lot about dharma, which means duty or responsibility. And I think you are undervaluing your contribution to the world because you've been programmed to think about a contribution in a particular way. And you sort of say, like, I talk too much about depression. Maybe I should talk less about depression. But I think what people are resonating with is that, like, a lot of people who are watching on Twitch feel disappointed in themselves and feel like the world is disappointed in them. Right? Like, there's a part of me that says that every gamer is a little bit broken. Like, I can sometimes feel that way.
True.
Right? And I think that, like, that's something that when you show that part of yourself and what you've been through, like, they resonate with that. And I think that's incredibly important for them because, like, here's the thing. When you were 15, we haven't talked about this, but I imagine you felt incredibly, incredibly alone. That you didn't understand what was going on in your life. And, like, the people, like, no one understood you and you didn't understand why. Like, you tried to be a different person. You tried so hard to be a different person. And you just could not figure out how to do it. And you were just busted old you. And, like, there's something really powerful about people who are feeling that way, being able to watch you struggle and say, like, oh, wow, like, she's busted Lily and I'm busted me. And she manages to do it, so I shouldn't give up. And I think if we're talking about, like, contributions to the world, like, that's fucking amazing, man. So don't stop what you're doing. And they deserve, like, you deserve every ounce of it. Not only do you deserve it, but they need you, Lily. It's not even about you. It's about, like, what you're doing for them.
You make it sound very cool.
And there it is again, right? There's the part of you that hesitates to believe.
I
So
mean,
just
like 60% believe.
Yeah, so
Like,
that's
I
progress.
believe it.
That's what makes my life hard because I think you've actually done a lot of you've done a lot of good work in terms of understanding. You're 60% there. And for that last 40%, this is kind of what I'll leave you with is that that person needs your compassion. So that's like 15-year-old Lily who just got yelled at and told that, by her mom that I wish you were never born. And she needs you. She needs the strong version of you. She needs the person that you've actually become. The person who's successful, who can look back on her life and say, like, because this is something that I think you can do, and I imagine you do, that, like, even if you're lost and you feel hopeless, like, and you went to community college, like, you can find a life where you can be, like, you can have joy and happiness and travel the world, and, like, there's a road for you. Like, life isn't over. And so 15-year-old Lily needs, how old are you now?
28.
Needs 28-year-old. Like, you need to be your own older sister. And there's 40% of you is still skeptical. That's fine.
I mean, 60 rounds to 100, so.
Sure. Okay. Thoughts, questions?
No, my brain is just blank right now. Sorry.
Good. Yeah, that's okay. That's what we're shooting for. So, you don't need to jump start it. I would just sit with where you are for a minute. Close your eyes. And just feel. No looking, no peeking.
Okay.
Okay. Good. So, do you have any questions?
I'm like thinking of a bunch of things right now. I'm trying to
Okay.
think of what to say. I also wanted to mention, like my parents are definitely a big part of why I fear disappointment. I also can we talk about hate for a second?
Sure.
Yeah, I got a lot of hate through the years. A lot. There are so many moments where I wanted to quit because of that. Because people who don't know me make assumptions about me or dox me or send me letters to my home,
Mm-hmm.
call me, uh, just nonstop hate. And I think it's gotten better dealing with it because you have to get better dealing with it when you do this kind of stuff, right? When you have like such a big audience.
Yeah.
But there's still some days where I read like one thing and it's like a spiral, I
Yeah.
guess. It's hard to. And that's also, I think, why I fear giving myself value because sometimes I'm scared if I see myself in a better light or like a valuable light, that just means like it gives them more ammo, I guess. Too. Does that make sense?
How does it give them more ammo?
Hmm. I've been told that. How do I explain this? If they can't shit on me, if I shit on me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you can't insult me if I insult myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's very powerful and potent. Um,
That you're thinking.
yeah.
Deprecation. I
Yes.
do that a lot.
Mm-hmm. How long do you want to talk about this, Lily? Like, do you want to really dive into it, or do you want to?
Do you have somewhere to go? Do you have to go somewhere? Or am I
Well,
taking your time?
I need to
I,
go move my car in about 25 minutes, so I'm just
oh,
trying to understand. So, like, if you want to have a conversation, which I think is very productive, I
mm-hmm.
first of all just need to take a little bit of a break because this wears me out a little bit. And before
Okay,
we
I'm sorry.
dive
Oh my
into it,
god.
no, that's it's fine. It's just I'm just trying to think a little bit about, if you want a simple answer, I can give you that in 5 to 10 minutes. But if you really want to dive into hate, I think that's fine. I'm just gonna like drink some water and move my car and maybe use the bathroom, and then we can come back refreshed and dive in. How does you tell me what?
Yeah, no, do what you need to do. Yeah.
Okay, dive. Okay, so I just need a minute.
Yeah, of course.
So I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys talk to Lily. Okay.
Oh
I just need
god.
a minute. Okay.
Fuck.
All right.
Hello, welcome back.
Thank you. Um okay, so hatred. Let's dive in.
Okay, yeah.
So tell me, so you're saying that people send you hate stuff.
Yeah. Oh wait. Sorry, hold on. Let me fix my mic. Oh yeah.
Um and you were saying something, this is brilliant. So you were saying that if you don't build yourself up, they can't tear you down,
Yes.
right? So I'm noticing an instinct to try to protect you from some things, but okay, so we'll get to that. Are you up for a little bit more emotion, or you feel like you're spent?
No, I love emotions. I love
Okay.
feeling.
Okay. So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. But okay. So all right. So tell me, how does it so tell me about why, why bring this up with me now? Like what's
I
the
felt
motivation
like
be?
I felt like um the reason why I don't value myself not only comes from, you know, my upbringing, my parents, but also this too. And I felt like it wasn't, genuine if I didn't bring it up as well. Like it felt like I should, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know if I should have, but maybe.
So the first thing is that this may not actually come from your parents. So I think it coming from your parents is an easy thing, but the number of streamers who I've talked, not just streamers, but people who I talk to who sort of say like, I see how what you said sort of relates, but I didn't mention this thing because I didn't feel comfortable talking about it on stream.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes it comes from somewhere else.
No, it's
So
not that I didn't feel comfortable. I just didn't want to bring it up.
yeah. No. I'm just saying that a lot of people will sort of. I think it's actually great that you're choosing to bring it up because a lot of people will like message me privately afterward and say like, "Hey, I didn't mention this."
Okay,
So
alright.
I think it's actually great that you did. So how do you think? So it what I'm getting from you is that instinctually, hatred seems to be a part of this equation. Like that, this discussion is not complete without talking about sort of hatred and how people are
Yeah,
venomous towards you.
because it did affect me pretty a lot. It did.
Yeah. And can you tell me like so what are we talking about? Are we talking about like post streaming career or like prior to streaming?
Um, Post.
Okay.
Or,
So
during, I guess,
during,
right?
yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you mean by hatred and what happens and what you experience, like what you
It was,
receive and how you feel.
okay, so first, my voice. Got a
Okay.
lot of hate for that.
A lot of
Um,
hate for that.
yeah, no, people really did not like it. Like, just a lot of hate over it, yeah. But it died down, for sure. But it was really bad back then.
Pardon me because I
Sure, you know.
may just be completely ignorant. But what on earth does your voice have to do with hate? Like I don't even understand.
Oh! Oh, they thought I was, like, faking it?
I see.
Like, they think I'm faking it. They thought it, or they still think. I don't know. Like,
But what?
people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the crux of it, really. Like, they think I'm faking my
Why
voice.
do they hate that? Like why would anyone think you're hating your voice? I'm just so confused.
Oh, okay. So, they think I'm faking my voice. So they think I'm faking it for attention. And then that gives way to, like, oh, she's just doing everything for attention. She's fake or whatever. Does that make
I see.
sense?
Okay, got it. Yeah. Um
And it's,
yeah, so what do you think about that? For,
I don't, well, nowadays I really don't care anymore.
good.
Like, there's only so many years you can get that, and like, fuck it. And this is my voice. Like, I'm just gonna talk in whatever's comfortable for me. Like, that's it, right? What else
Yeah.
can I do?
Yeah.
Um,
So how did it make you feel when they would, hate on you? And how does someone hate on you for their voice? What do they actually say? They say you're faking your voice for attention? Is that what like I
yeah,
don't even
pretty
understand
much.
how that
I
like
don't.
what the
It's
hate
just what
mail
it
even
is.
looks like. Hey, you're not talking in your real voice. Well, I'm not talking in my real voice too, but that's okay. You don't have to do it like that. You can do whatever kind of voice you want to do. We can do this voice. We can do this one. We can do a little bit of the German accent. We can do all kinds of the different accents. So all kinds of voices that are all fake. Everything is false and without meaning.
When you word it like that, yeah, it makes no sense, huh? But that's just one part of it, I guess. Other
Yeah.
parts
So
are just like,
go ahead. Yeah,
sorry, go
sorry.
on. Oh,
No.
oh,
The
okay.
other part
So
of it is
I think I don't know why there are people who just really didn't like me. Like, they would send me messages where they would try to like psychoanalyze me. Like, this is why you do this. Like, you only do it for attention. You're fake. Nothing about you don't deserve success. Like shit like that. They message me stuff like that,
Okay.
and that's like okay. That used to bother me a lot back then, especially when I was what was it? I was dating before Albert a public figure as well, and people would message me saying how, oh, you're just dating them for attention, you're a gold digger, stuff like that. And that really bothered me because uh I don't like being misunderstood, I guess. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like that. But they believe that. So it I don't know. It sucked.
Give me a second.
Okay, sure. I feel like I'm breaking him. Is he okay? He's fine, right? He's okay. I just feel bad.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was one time
Yeah.
someone sent me like they sent me a letter to my house when I lived with my parents. I
Mhm.
don't know how they got my address. Well, probably because of the docs. And
Creepy.
yeah, it was creepy. They sent me a 7-page letter saying how like uh disparaging like everyone that I was hanging out with and that I wasn't good for them. It was just weird stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
It was 7 page. I wish I kept it now. It's part of history, but I threw it away. I pretty sure I burned it or something. It was
Good for
really
you.
weird.
Okay.
Oh, and then there are people who message me like after the whole Albert thing happened, like uh how I deserve to be cheated on and like stuff like that.
And I know this sounds like a stupid question even to me, but like, how does
Yeah.
that make you feel when people do
It
that?
just made me feel like shit because I was already like in my own head and like
But do you
maybe they're
believe
right.
that when they say it?
Um, in my lowest of times, maybe. Like at my low point, right?
Good for
But
you. So I see. This is interesting. So I think this is different because you would think, because they're saying the very things that you actually, like LilyPichu actually believes,
mm,
but you tell me that at your lowest of low, maybe. So
I
I think
don't.
that something within you rebels against that and actually
Yeah,
doesn't believe that.
I don't want to believe in that. Of course,
You
like
don't
I don't.
want to believe it. I'm not asking what you want. I'm asking what you do. Do you actually
Oh,
believe them when they say these things about you?
again, just at my low points. Yeah, but that's.
Yeah, I think it's good that you don't believe them. That doesn't mean that it isn't hurtful, but I don't think that this is the same as you feeling like. Do they make you feel inadequate?
I think it's more like their triggers for like more thoughts. Like they'll mention like, oh, you did this, so he cheated on you. Then I'm like, I know I didn't, but then like later I think like, oh, I did do. I was like a little clingy. I guess. I guess I was like that. Like I guess something like that. Like
Okay, so
following
they kind
thoughts.
of cause you to doubt some, but it's not like you feel like these people are you hit the nail on the head.
No, no, no. I don't think so. No,
Good.
they're.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there are three or four things I want to say. One of them I think could be hard for you to hear, and the other
Okay.
three I think are going to be fine. So the
Okay.
first is we can talk a little bit about understanding like why people hate, right? So
Okay.
this is not even about you. It's just like what on earth would possess someone to go through all of the effort of finding out your address and then writing you a 7-page letter and like mailing it. Like, so first of
I
all,
have no idea.
it boggles my mind that someone would like, I can't even, it takes every ounce of my willpower to like find a stamp, buy an envelope, print something out and mail
Yeah.
it, even if it's like important, like my mortgage.
Not only that,
Like,
but they did it in different colored like paper and pen color. I remember.
so
It was.
so it it's crazy. Like, what on earth? Why do people expend so much energy in hating you? So the first thing
I
to
don't
understand
know.
is that That has nothing to do with you. Like, Lily, I know I was talking about how you were amazing and inspirational and you can transform lives and all that good stuff. I don't think you have it within you to inspire someone to mail something. That comes from
Okay.
them. It doesn't come from you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So that's the first thing to understand, is that this actually has nothing to do with you. And there's a
Okay.
decent chance that, we have to be a little bit careful about, like, being narcissistic and saying, like, oh, my haters, like, it's just all on them. It has nothing to do with me. So I think you should, reflect. Like, if you have a criticism, like if someone criticizes you, so some people criticize me, and I think that's fair,
Okay.
to take their criticism seriously. And that sort of depends on the way and manner in which they do it, right? So if someone sends me a letter that's 7 pages long out of, like, magazine type of different colors, like, I'm just less likely to take that seriously because that's just fucking weird, right?
True.
Whereas sometimes people say, like, oh, what you're doing is irresponsible and stuff like that. No, those are, like, legitimate criticisms, and
Okay.
so there's a chance there's ego deflecting this and saying, oh, it's all on them. But I really think it's all on them. I don't think it's ego. I think it's just understanding that hatred comes from them. Like, first of all, they don't even know you. They're, like, seeing something, and something grates with them about the person that you have become. They have to
Okay.
tear you down, because if you exist, that is something that they cannot, like, tolerate within their own psyche. And I've dealt with people like this in my own life, where, like, like, this is kind of, like, important, like that, like, in a way they have constructed a shell for themselves, and the shell involves, like, certain things being true. Like, for example, so I think part of the reason that you may get a lot of hate is because you talk about depression. And when someone says, like, I'm just gonna, I have no idea who these people are, and some people were saying I should talk to them. I'm happy to talk to them, actually. But I'm just gonna toss something out there, okay? This is so, like, you talk about depression and you struggle with depression, and there are other people out there who struggle with depression. And there are people who struggle so much with depression that they become disabled and they're not able to do anything with their lives. And then they blame their depression. But there's also a bizarre amount of security in that depression, because it absolves you of responsibility. And here comes fucking LilyPichu, who also struggles and got told by her mom, like, got, like, really emotionally abused by her mom, and told her that she wouldn't rather be born. And that's what my parents told me. And here she is being successful. And that terrifies them. Because if you can be successful, then it's not the depression's fault, it's their fault. So nothing inspires hate as much as seeing the person that you could be. That inspires the deepest hate that I've ever seen.
I see.
Because they look at you and they say, like, oh, I could be like that, but I'm not. So I have to tear her down, because if you're fake, then they're fine. Does that make sense?
It does make a lot of sense. Yes.
So that's where I think a lot of this hate comes from. It comes from them, and it comes from their own issues. And they have to tear you down in order to make themselves feel better about, like, their own situation in life. Oh, like, heaven forbid Lily actually is talented and brings value. She must have some trick, right? It must be like she must be faking her voice. Because, and, like, I can't make that voice, and that's why I'm not successful. Like, there's no way that they can, like, their mind, their ego, it comes down to ego. Their ego can tolerate, like, you being the person that you are, because it assaults their worldview in some way. Questions about that?
No, that made sense.
So, I don't know that this necessarily helps, but I think, going forward, I would just try to remember that, right? So, like,
Yeah.
when you're going to read those words, and this is going to come to point number 2, which is that you are just full of love. And we'll get to that in a second. But, like, you're gonna, those words are gonna have an impact on you. But remember that, like, a lot of hate in this world most hatred is not actually, like, sometimes it's really deserving of the person who did it, but most of the time, like, hatred is like coming from them and like their own sense of like hurt or anger or fear. Or, I mean, that's, when I get hatred, like when I get a patient who's like, and I get a lot of hate, like I work in a lot of situations where, sometimes I'll involuntarily hospitalize people and things like that, or I'm working with people who are hospitalized against their will. And sometimes I work with people who are like psychotic, like not in a colloquial sense, but in like a clinical sense. And so that, you can, my overwhelming sense is that hate rarely has to do with you, and it mostly has to do with them. The other thing to remember is if we think about hate is like really kind of a manifestation of anger, right? It's anger taken to extreme. Agree? Understand with me?
Yeah.
Okay. And so if we think about it, what makes us angry? Like, where does anger come from? So like Lily, over the last 2 months, sorry,
It's okay.
if I say something that's insensitive, because now I'm sort of treating you in a different way, but in the last 2 months, have you been angry?
Yeah, I've been angry.
Yeah. Where does that anger come from?
Hurt.
Absolutely. So this is the other thing to understand, is that the birthplace of anger is hurt. 99% of the time. I don't know, maybe 90% of the time, maybe 50% of the time. For the intensive purposes of this discussion, it comes from hurt, and that's been my experience. That hurt is what leads to anger. And I remember like reading like a school shooter's manifesto and just thinking like the origin of this is hurt. Right? And it's like, I'm not, I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but this is important to understand. And so it's kind of sad, but that like those people, like even though they're hating you and you suffer for that, and that's not cool, and we'll get to that. But at the end of the day, like this is all born of like their hurt, and like because like if you think about it, if you're successful and you're a reject and you went to community college and you have depression, they don't have a fucking excuse. Because those are their excuses. That's what they live behind, right? Like that's the armor of their life. It's like they can look at me and it's like way harder to hate me because they look at me and they say, oh, Dr. K is different. He's smarter, he works hard, he has willpower, he went to Harvard. They don't see us as being the same. But the people who hate me are the ones that see themselves within me. Like they look at me and they see a part of themselves. And that can be terrifying to deal with. And that thought hurts so damn much. Because if you have excuses for life, then it's okay. But like the thought that you actually are in control, that if you had worked harder or hadn't given up or expended more effort, your life could be somewhere where it isn't, that is immensely hurtful. Most devastating thing. And then it leads to anger and it leads to hatred. And since they are depressed and disabled and may have failed out of community college, they have a bunch of time on their hands. And this is, I feel, protective of you, so I'm being an asshole to them, which is not really good. But they have nothing better to do than to write 7-page letters and mail them to you. Right? So I think the main thing that we need to understand as like members of this community who receive hurt is that, I think we, as best as we're able, I'm not saying you should do this, but as best as we're able, try to remember that this actually is coming from hurt. That most anger comes from hurt. And that if someone is like, hates you, that if there's some way in which you can help that person, I think you should. I think that's more my ballpark than your ballpark, so I'm not trying to suggest that you should do that, but that's a big part of why I stream. So I don't want to project that on you, but questions about that?
No, that makes sense.
Okay, so second thing about hatred is that, Lily, you're incredibly empathic.
Yeah.
Does that make, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I think your heart is just full of love, and it's an amazing, beautiful thing, and also sometimes sucks for you, because I think
sucks so much.
Yeah.
Especially, like streaming, being a public figure and caring so much about everything is so hard.
Yeah.
And I wish I didn't care so much.
Yep.
I really do. But
so you're an empathic sponge, and your heart is just full of love and caring, and you have to be careful. So I think part of the reason that like the hatred bothers you is not because, and this is why I was like early on I started asking like, do you believe that about yourself? I don't think the hatred actually has anything to do with your lack of worth, like your lack of sense of self-worth. I think it evokes something completely different. And the reason that you suffer for it is because you are just so, your heart is just so full of love and you are so empathic that somehow, subconsciously, psychosocially, spiritually, I don't even know what this is. We're getting into territory that I really do not understand, and I'm just observing. You are able to connect with that person, and you feel not only their hatred, but the hurt underneath. And I think it's hard on you. And I think that's because you love and because you care and because your heart is open, that like things affect you in like a bigger way. So like, you know, it's not your fault. It's not, I mean, generally speaking, I kind of think of it as good, but even then it's not good or bad. It's just, you need to understand that your being, whether it's your, you know, whether you believe in souls or whatnot, that's fine. Whether it's personality or neuroscience, like your empathic circuitry, your EQ, something about the way that like your brain is wired, you feel the feelings of others in a very deep and intense way. And also the intensity of your own feelings is like greater. So I would guess that you test very, very low on like the sociopathy scale because your empathy is actually very high. So like you're not, you know, I think it would be hard for you to take advantage of other people and things like that. Because yeah. And so that's just the way you are. So you need to be careful about the way in which you care for yourself. Because you need to understand that like other people, like you can't judge what you should do to take care of yourself based on what you see other people do. And, yeah. So especially, so do I say this or do I not say this?
Say it.
So I was confused about like what offline TV is because my mods were like, you should raid this person. They're part of the offline TV crew. And like, I didn't understand literally what those words meant. Like, I don't understand what part of the offline TV crew is. Like, do you guys understand how that sentence doesn't, like, I don't even, I just don't, like, my head does not know how to compute that. Mm-hmm. So I was really confused. And I try not to prepare for interviews, which I think is good. But then I Googled offline TV and I saw what offline TV was. And then I watched some offline TV content. And so I'm going to be very explicit with you. I think you've got to be careful because you're different from some of your colleagues. Some of your colleagues are different in terms of their degree of empathy and also their degree of sociopathy. So like their ability to withstand things and also to put themselves like to separate out their feelings from their actions is like very different from yours. And you need to take care of yourself in a different kind of way. Like you need to think about yourself as a sponge. And you absorb negativity very easily. You hold on to negativity very easily. Yes. You also absorb positivity very easily. Yes. And you also let go of positivity very easily. Yes. So you need to have a life where like you know how to wring out the sponge if it's negative and then stick it into something that you like. But you gotta wring it out. And the reason you can't sleep is because you're not wringing it out. You got to wring it out and then put yourself into something good. This isn't distractions. Just like this is just how your being works. So I'm different. I test very highly on the sociopathy scale. My sense of inherent empathy is was low. And so like I'm different from you. So the things that work for me are not going to work for you. I don't know exactly what that means. And I think we're going to maybe have a more concrete conversation about how you can take care of yourself better. Because I think you do need to take care of yourself better. And by better, I mean probably differently because you're trying to take care of yourself in the way that normal people take care of themselves. But you're not a normal person. You're just way too full of love. And so you've got to take care of, like, I don't know what the wringing out is going to be, but it may be a particular meditation exercise. I have one in mind, which also is for insomnia. But it's also just acknowledging that, like, you need to think about yourself as like a white cloth, and a white cloth stains way faster. But a white cloth you can also bleach. So you're going to have to be a little bit more rigorous about understanding what are the things that make you feel. How do you let go of negative emotions? And then how do you soak up positive emotions? And the more that you're able to think about yourself in that way and like actively do that instead of just hope it happens, the better off you're going to feel on a day-to-day basis. You're like a real life like healer. You're like a healer from an MMO. So like, yeah,
not that cool, but okay.
Okay, fine. Maybe not. Maybe bad enough. Okay, so questions about being an empathic sponge.
That makes sense. I care about things way too much. Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's not a bad thing, right? So we don't want you to change. We just want you to, or at least in my mind, I don't think you should change. I don't think that's right. I think what you should do is learn how to be yourself and learn how you work so that you can be like happy day to day and like understand what your body, what your physical, emotional, and spiritual needs are, and that those may be different from other people's.
Okay.
I mean, everyone's are different from other people's because we're all unique. So we can think a little bit about that. I think that's potentially a longer conversation.
Okay.
So the last thing is like, related to this is that you're just going to have to sort of deal with that hate because when they send you the hate, like you absorb it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feed your negative cognitive biases about yourself and that you're worthless. It's just, I think you just absorb it. You're like, and that's tough. So once again, it comes to figuring out like, how do you wring out that sponge? How can you sort of sit with those feelings and don't try to push them away? Don't try to cope with them. I mean, cope with them, but like, if you need to, but don't try to distract yourself. Just feel those feelings and then kind of think through, okay, like just recognize that, wow, this person like has a lot of anger and hatred and they're directing it towards me. So I'm going to feel it, but then as best as you can, let it wash through you.
Okay.
And figure out what are the things that help emotions wash through you.
So, yeah, I guess figuring that out is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like
So
trying
that's tough.
to, yeah. So.
That's what I'm saying. I think I'm doing you in a sense a disservice because I'm telling you to do something that I don't think that most people are trained to learn how to do. So I'm giving you a goal. I'm sort of saying like, oh, like, come up with a grand unified theory of physics. And you're like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Because, so that's why I'm saying
a direction.
Yeah. So I think, so, I mean, we can talk very concretely in a few minutes about like what the first phase of that is. Yeah, so just to remember that hate is going to come onto you, but that you can let that go. Like that's possible. You just need to process it. And also, try as best as you can, try to remember, and like hopefully this will help, that like the hate's not coming. I mean, it's not really about you, it's about them. Like what the fuck? Like why do they go through all this effort to try to hurt you in some way? And now we come to the thing, questions, thoughts. Okay. Yeah.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes.
Sorry.
Nope, go for it. Should I be talking right now? I'm confused. Maybe I should talk. I shall interact with stream for a few moments. Alone with a sociopath, hold me, chat. Yeah, so psychiatrists tend to test highly on the sociopathy scale. It's part of what makes us good at our job. What are you drinking? I'm drinking water. Tell people who I am. Oh, right. So there are a lot of new people here. I sometimes forget. Okay, so my name is Alo Kanoji. I'm a psychiatrist. Thank you, chat. I need you guys. I really need you guys. Okay, so my name is Alo Kanoji. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm practicing in Boston, Massachusetts. In my day job, I'm an addiction psychiatrist. I guess very briefly, just about my backstory. So I played a ton of video games, was addicted to video games in growing up, high school, almost failed out of college, had less than a 2.0 GPA, was on academic probation, ended up going to India to find myself, etc. Loved it because I sort of discovered yoga and meditation and Ayurveda, decided to become a monk, sort of trained in yoga and meditation. I was still like coming back and forth between the US and India, with the goal of becoming a monk. So did that training for about 7 years and then ended up becoming, going to medical school and became a psychiatrist and did neuroscience research for a while. And so now I try to help people understand themselves. A couple years ago, I'm doing a quick intro, Lily, because people were saying I should introduce myself. So a couple years ago, started like asking some of my like professors and stuff about video game addiction, and realized like no one really knows anything about video game addiction because the leaders in the field of psychiatry are in their 50s, 60s, or 70s, which is true of most of medicine. Like if you think about an expert in the field, like if you think about, people who get named to like Fed chair and things like that, people who are CEOs and things like, people are older, and so they've never played video games and they don't understand what gaming is like. So I started working with gamers about 5 years ago, and then recently started streaming on Twitch because like, gamers are not going to wind up in my office. So if I want to talk to people about their mind and mental health and how to understand it, that Twitch is the right thing to do. And that seems to have worked out so far because people seem to enjoy this kind of thing. So I enjoy it too. And so that's who I am. Yeah. So, last thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this self-deprecation. This is important to understand. Okay, I'm kind of spent, so I'm gonna just do this quickly, and maybe I should.
No, I'm so. If you need to go.
No. I'm just. I guess I don't mean to make you feel bad. I just can't walk you to this in the way that I normally do.
Okay.
And so sometimes I also find I'm afraid that this could sound hurtful or callous because usually I preface things pretty well. Okay, so I think it's very good, Lily, that you understand that you sort of self-deprecate I think sometimes, self-deprecation is really has nothing to do with the way you feel about yourself. It's just like the way that you're funny, like it's your mode of humor. But I think there is something very true that you said about, if you put yourself down, then others can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Right? So you can protect yourself from hurt as long as you're the one who's like making fun of yourself, like, because then you're in control. And that sort of works. It's a survival mechanism. I'd be really curious if you were like bullied growing up, because that's something that people learn how to do to protect themselves from bullies. And it's dangerous because you are willing to treat yourself badly because there's certainty and security in that. Like, that's something you can deal with. It's territory that you know. You're willing to beat up on yourself or not let yourself feel hopeful or successful because if you aren't successful, Lily, you can't be disappointing to anyone.
True.
Right? So your fear, when we talk to Lily 2, remember, what does Lily 2 feel? What's her primary feeling? Was the word you used?
Disappointment?
Dread of disappointment. Right? So you have like this perfect armor against everything that Lily 2 dreads. And that perfect armor is that you don't become successful. Because if you're never successful, you can't be disappointed. And if you can't be disappointed, then Lily 2 has nothing to worry about because her fears will never come to pass. And that is very protective, and it is, I think, a bad way to live life. And now we're going to come to Albert, because you've engaged in a relationship where you loved and you gave your entire heart and you got devastated. And now you're hesitant to love again, and it's the same thing. Because unless you let yourself become successful, you can't be disappointed. And there's a lot of security and comfort in not letting yourself love again.
Yeah.
And I think it's the wrong move. Doesn't mean you have to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a value judgment that I'm placing. I'm not saying that you should do that. It's just I have a bias and I have a belief that living a life of security and comfort is not how you live a fulfilling life. That a life of fulfillment comes out of facing uncertainty and embracing uncertainty and taking a chance. And part of what devastates all of these people about you, Lily, is that like you are doing the thing that they did not do, which is that you took a chance and you faced up to like all of your demons and you started streaming and you did it inconsistently and you self-deprecate yourself, but you walked the very uncertain road, which is why I think you're amazing. Because you walked that road and you did it, and it terrifies them. Because they look at you and they see the person that they could be. And so at some point, I hope you're willing to walk that road of uncertainty again when it comes to engaging in a relationship. You know, because I think that there is a lot of joy and fulfillment in that, but it's dangerous. And the prospect... Yes.
Scary.
Very scary. Yeah. And so not saying it has to be anytime soon,
Mm-hmm.
but when I kind of think about someone who is as full of empathy and love as you are, and who clearly resonates with people and helps them in a profound way, and I think about you sort of living like at the age of 60, if you're kind of alone and have never, been in a relationship, that's kind of sad. Like that thought makes me sad. And I think you deserve more. And I'm not saying that, Albert's a good guy or bad guy or anything. I'm just saying like you as a human being, I think people deserve to be loved and cherished and appreciated. So.
I hope for that maybe one day.
Yeah.
Not now though.
Still a bit early.
Yeah, still like commitment's my scary word.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's healthy, reasonable.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Other thoughts, questions?
This was a really nice conversation.
I enjoyed it a lot too.
I really liked it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Do people have questions for you? Are we doing questions? I don't know. Hold on. Do you want to... Are you spent?
No. I'm good. Nothing to do.
Okay, let me just... Because sometimes people have questions for you.
Okay.
Oh, and also we need to do meditation. Okay, let's do meditation first. And if people have questions for Lily, then y'all can ask them. So I'm going to teach you a really simple meditation technique, which I think will hopefully will help. Unclear. But it's a meditation technique that I usually teach for people who have trouble sleeping. Do you meditate, by the way?
No.
Okay.
I don't know how to really.
Okay, that's great. We'll start fixing that problem today. So what I want you to... we were talking about you kind of being an emotional sponge. So when you wake up in the morning, Lily, when you're not in a period of depression, how do you usually feel?
I wake up, I lie in bed, I browse Reddit for like 3 hours. Not 3 hours, I browse Reddit. Just think, what I have to do today? Shit, I have to do that. Oh, god damn it. I didn't do that yesterday.
How do you feel when you first wake up?
Really lazy. Like,
okay.
Just kind of, I want to go back to bed. Feeling?
Okay. Yeah, that may be because you're not getting enough sleep, but okay. So,
yeah.
I don't know if this is actually true, but generally speaking, I think about the mind as being relatively fresh in the morning. And that if we think about insomnia, what happens is like over the course of the day, like it's easy to go to bed in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to fall asleep in the morning, but it's hard to fall asleep at night. So something changes between morning and night. And we have to understand what that is that prevents you from sleeping at night, because it's definitely not there in the morning.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people don't appreciate that as they go through the day, as you have thoughts like you're having, that creates a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of tension, like, oh, I didn't do that. It creates regret. And those negative emotions, the more that you think like, oh, I didn't do this and I didn't do this, like, even though you may feel like going back to sleep, how does that affect your ability to sleep?
Um, not comfortable, I guess.
Absolutely.
You feel
Right?
guilty. You shouldn't go back
Yeah.
to sleep.
So when you try to go to bed at night, what is it that keeps you awake?
I don't know. I
Do you have thoughts?
I do. I think a lot.
Yep.
I just think a lot of
About
thoughts.
what?
Well, first I need to get off Reddit. That could take like hours. There's so many subreddits out there. It's crazy. Um, and then I just think like a lot of what ifs. A lot.
Okay.
Do that a lot.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. So that's I'm thinking that maybe we need to teach you something else, but I'm going to continue teaching what I was planning on
Okay.
teaching. But that's just changed my sense of what could be helpful to you. But my sense is that, when we wake up in the morning, it's relatively easy to go to sleep. And as we go through the day, we start to have thoughts, and those thoughts have like little emotional impacts. So we
Okay.
take like a little bit of emotional damage. And usually that damage is there because the thought is not incomplete. I mean, the thought is incomplete. It's not like resolved. So we think about something, and it's like something that's left unresolved. And it's kind of this little emotional weight that needs to be settled. So if you're thinking, oh, I didn't do this yesterday, then that's like a little bit of regret and a little bit of guilt. And you're not quite at peace with that. Does that make sense? In
Yeah.
fact, the thoughts of like guilt and regret are a sign of lack of peace. You with me?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not at peace about it, which is why you regret it. Those are like tied.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what happens is throughout the day, we have little instances, either thoughts or encounters with people where like, oh, I say this. And like, let's say like at the end of tonight, if I'm laying in bed and I say, oh, I should have said this to Lily. I forgot to say this. I was less compassionate than I could have been, or this or that. And so there are all things that happen throughout the day that sort of give us this, like, it's like we're absorbing a little bit of that stuff in our emotional sponge.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we accumulate all that crap throughout the day, then we go to bed and we just have this flood of like random thoughts about all kinds of stuff, half of which is not good.
Yeah.
Right? So that's like like just incomplete mental energy that we've accumulated through the day because our experiences are not complete or processed. They're all like half done. Like I walked in the grocery store and there was this chick and she was checking me out. I was like, oh yeah, like there's that thought. Or I was walking down the street and there was this chick and she was looking at my hair because it was ridiculous. Oh my God, I'm mortified. There are all these incomplete little things that happen, right? So
Oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Let's do meditations, like trying to complete all of those. Or...
Sort of. This meditation is way easier than completing them because completing them is a
okay.
lot of work. It's actually unwinding. So I want you to think about your mind in the morning is unwound. And as you go through the day, you kind of wind it up. Like it gets wound, right? Like you get like tense and you get energy. And then at night you have like insomnia. So this technique is relatively simple. It's just you start at the end of your day. So you start in the moment. So you're laying in bed. And then you go through your day in reverse order. So you start with the most recent thing, and then you go to the thing before, and then you go to the thing before, and you go to the thing before. And you just think through the emotional impact, or you acknowledge the emotional impact. You don't have to process anything. You just think, like you just acknowledge the emotions that you felt and how you felt the moment before, in the moment before, and the moment before. And the goal is to leave yourself being unwound at the beginning of the morning when you were tired and sleepy. And then if you get good at the technique, so this is important to remember, is that like meditation is a skill. So you have to practice this technique for a period of about 8 weeks, 5 times a week, for it to really have a significant change on your sleeping pattern. That's what you should expect.
I see.
And so I'll give you just kind of an example, right? So like before I got into bed, I brushed my teeth. Before I brushed my teeth, I changed my clothes, and then and as I was changing my clothes, my wife yelled at me because instead of putting clothes in the hamper, I put them on the floor. I just leave clothes on the floor, and I felt irritated with her. And before that, I was reading my kids a bedtime story, and that felt actually really amazing because they're very cuddly. But then one of them was like moving around too much and she wasn't sitting still, so I felt frustrated with her. I also felt like annoyed that my other kid couldn't hear a story because I was dealing with the wiggly one. And before that, I was eating dinner, and I felt kind of frustrated because like I wanted to eat chicken wings, but instead we had pasta.
This
And
is so
before that,
cute. It's very comfy. I'm sorry, I interrupted
yeah.
you.
So
It's very
so I mean,
wholesome.
didn't feel that way to me, but
Oh,
um I mean, I recognize there are parts of it that are wholesome. But so to basically go through your day in reverse order. And so like
mhm.
acknowledge the things that you felt. So let's practice now. And as
Okay,
you feel comfortable,
okay.
let's so close your eyes and start in reverse order. So like tell me about what you did
Today?
today. Yeah. So we're going to
Okay.
start now. What you did and how it made you feel. Start
Um,
with this moment.
I talked to you. Felt cathartic, actually. Helped me a lot. Um, then I was looking for my glasses for about an hour. It made me very frustrated because I things. I still haven't found my glasses. I'm wearing someone else's glasses right now, actually,
Okay, so
and they're
good.
really
This is
bad.
a mistake.
Sorry, I'm just going off on a tangent. I'm so.
Yes, very good. So this is a problem. So don't indulge in new lines of thought. Just
Okay,
acknowledge I felt frustrated that I could not find my glasses and then move
okay.
to the thing before. Good.
Alright, okay. Frustrated, could not find my glasses. Uh, I drank a lot of water because I was sick. Felt better. I had a cough drop because I was sick. Also felt better. I put some makeup on because yeah, felt better. um, washed my face. Changed. Woke up. I guess that was my day.
Okay. So I want you to uh how long ago did you wake up?
Mm, I woke up at around.
How many hours
Oh
ago?
wait. Sorry, I completely forgot one more thing. Um, Before that, I browsed Reddit for like an hour or two, maybe.
Okay.
So I woke up at like 9.
So
Yeah.
now what we need to do is increase the resolution of like zoom in more, right? So like there are a lot of things. So did you feel something before you came on stream?
I did. I felt very anxious, actually. Super
Right. So
nervous.
so this technique doesn't work unless you catch that, right? Because like the feelings that
Oh,
you acknowledge are the things that you unwound. But unless you acknowledge the anxiety, that anxiety is going to sit with you,
okay. Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
so in the span of like, 30 to 60 seconds you went through your entire day, we
Mm-hmm.
need to spend 5 minutes on
Oh,
so you want to go through each thing that happened,
okay. And oh yeah,
okay?
I forgot.
So that yeah, that's okay. That's the point of the technique. Is it's not supposed to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
The point of the technique is so that it trains you to acknowledge the various things that happen throughout the day so that you can unwind them a little bit and then they're weighing on you less.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense.
So I think let's try this one more time. And why don't you start with last night? So pretend that you're in bed last night and try to go. I'll stop you after like 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
But like put yourself in the frame of mind of like, what did you do? Like you were in bed last night and start there.
Okay. Was in bed. Then I washed up. Then
How did you feel when you washed up?
relieved. Oof, yeah, relieved. I felt relieved when I washed up because I had a long day. Um, I was then some people dropped me off home. Before that, we watched a movie, and the movie was entertaining. It's funny. I enjoyed it.
How was the car ride home? How did you feel?
Uneventful. It was just the car ride.
Okay.
Before that, I was with my friend Michael. We went to a premiere event. It was exciting. We streamed for hours and hours. It was fun. Then before that, car ride to the event, uneventful again. Then before that, got makeup, hair stylist done, which was also exciting. We streamed that as well. Before that, ordered food, ate. Wasn't very hungry, but still ate. And then before that, woke. What did I do? Browsed Reddit probably. Washed up a little. Browsed Reddit, I guess.
Okay. So great. So I think you're doing a far better job at sort of incorporating different things throughout your day. But something tells me that the majority of your emotion yesterday, maybe this isn't right, but did you have trouble sleeping last night?
I have trouble sleeping every night.
Okay. So I'm curious about the little anxieties, fears, dreads that you may
I,
have had throughout the day.
I did miss a lot, actually. I had a big problem with the streaming backpack. It was super stressful. I don't know why I didn't say it. Wow. Yeah, I was so stressed about that because I didn't know if we could stream it.
What does stressed mean?
I was like anxious and I guess nervous, and I was feeling like overwhelmed about the
Bye.
backpack.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, at the event too, I was really tired, super physically exhausted, super tired. Um, I'm trying to remember.
Okay, good. So Lily, I think this is good. So you need to practice the technique. So what
Yeah,
I would say is that, as you now that you're kind of you can even do sort of the flip side of the technique, which is as you're going through your day, just take note of how you feel so that you can do the
yeah,
technique at night.
yeah.
The other
That would
thing that
help.
you're not allowed to do, so it's great that you acknowledge these things now. If you're really doing the technique like a hard ass, you start over at the beginning and you include those with everything else.
Okay. Do I do that?
Yeah, let's try it one more time, then we'll be done.
Okay. So yesterday,
Yes.
from the moment I woke up or
The moment you went to
backwards?
sleep.
Backwards is really hard.
Yes.
Like it's harder than the other. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So washed up, felt good because I had a long day. Um.
Eyes closed.
Okay. Um. Ate some food. Did not feel that good. I wasn't hungry, but I made myself eat because I didn't eat much that day. Car ride home was uneventful. Relieved to go. The event itself was fun but tiring. Um. Just really tiring. But I kind of wanted to go home too. Uh. Then the car ride to the event was kind of stressful because we were trying to work out the stream. There was some problems with the screen, I remember. And it was super cold. I was very cold. I didn't bring a jacket. That was a mistake. And before that, the hair makeup was fine, but I was also still stressed because I wasn't sure if the stream was going to be good that day, and I didn't know if the backpack was going to work. And before I started the stream, before the makeup, we were trying to fix the backpack for a long time. I was stressed because I didn't know what to do, and I felt bad because I was relying on Michael to fix it, and I couldn't help. Then ordered food. That was okay. I wasn't that hungry, but just ate because I was nervous about that day. Oh, I had an eyelash appointment that morning. I forgot. That was kind of okay. I fell asleep during the most of it because you just lay there for 2 hours. Then I woke up. Oh, I auditioned for something that morning too. I was very tired, so I was kind of nervous because I wasn't sure if my voice sounded good in the morning, and I was sick too. And then I woke up at 8.
So what do you notice about the first run and the second run?
I forgot so many things. Wow.
Yes. So that's
Holy
all
crap.
crap that is swimming around in your unconscious. And
Yeah,
is
no,
just like,
I can't believe I forgot all of that.
yeah, right? So
Bad
living a
memory.
life like where you're mindful of like moments and things like it's very hard.
Yeah.
So it takes practice. I think you're doing a fantastic job. I'm amazed by how much progress you've made between like one run and the second one. So keep
Closing
practicing
my
it.
eyes helped. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
closing your eyes does
definitely.
help. Very good. Um, okay, so let's see. I think that's. Let me see if people have questions for you.
Okay.
Um, okay, so one question is, how do I get healing like this if I cannot afford the expense of a therapist or psychiatrist? So that's why we're training coaches. So I'm like training a dozen coaches who are going to be working hopefully with people, and our beta program is going to be free. At some point, though, we're going to probably have to charge something because they can't continue to volunteer their time. But
It's
and
really
it's going to be
nice.
it's not treatment, so it's going to be like cheap. So maybe like $40 an hour or something like that. Um,
Wow.
so okay. Okay, so someone says, you had mentioned with Kevin to not live in a world with hypotheticals. I don't know who Kevin is, but after getting cheated on the first time, I started living in a world of what if my next girlfriend cheats on me? In my case, my next girlfriend did. How do you let go of the hypothetical if it was correct once? What do you think, Lily?
Um, how do you? I don't even know. Like,
Yeah,
I wish I knew that now too. Uh,
yeah,
I still think, what if my next boyfriend cheats on me, or I'm scared of that still.
yeah. So I think it's a great question, right? So I think that's the challenge, is that each time you get hurt, you can fear engaging in the relationship again. Um, and so that sort of makes sense. Like, it can be hard every time that, you get hurt, it can be hard to shake that thing again and again. And
Mm-hmm.
and I've talked about something called a samskar, which is sort of like a ball of undigested emotion or trauma before. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when I talk about Lily 2, for example, I'm talking about, in Sanskrit, Lily 2 is something called a samskar. So it's like this sort of dormant set of emotions that rise up and change Lily's thought patterns and behaviors. And then they go dormant again and she's back to being normal Lily. So
Mm-hmm.
each time you get emotionally hurt and you don't process it, the strength of the samskar grows. So if we look at Lily, we see that Lily has this persistent sense of self-judgment and disappointment and falling short, because that she didn't get told that she was disappointing once. She got told she was disappointing again and again and again and again. And each time she gets told she's disappointing, that thing grows. And what we see is like what we see today, right? Which is this persistent negative self-critical kind of like, it's like subtitles. Like, you're living your normal life and these subtitle thoughts are just like popping up. And you struggle because you're trying to like stop the subtitles, and it's kind of okay because you're actually still living life, but the subtitles are there. It's really fucking annoying. So with the girlfriend, I think you've got to understand that each time it happens, it's going to create some emotional weight, and that you have to sort of learn how to like face uncertainty again and step out of your security and comfort zone, which is a little bit of an unsatisfying answer. The other thing that you've really got to be careful about is that a lot of times people get into similar relationship patterns, and from psychiatry, this is something we call the repetition compulsion, that people tend to essentially like try to repeat the same, they end up repeating the same thing over and over again because they're trying to like fix something. And a good example of this is people who are in abusive relationships oftentimes will get into abusive relationships again. And they'll get into abusive relationship after abusive relationship after abusive relationship. So the other thing that you can do, and I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but you can look at like how you select the people that you end up dating. Because there's a chance that you gravitate towards a certain kind of person who is more likely to be unfaithful. And I know that sounds crazy, and it sounds kind of like, I'm not trying to blame you, but at the same time, we actually had an interesting early on when we started streaming, we had a great conversation with someone who found that like he gets into the same relationship patterns over and over again. And a lot of people do experience that they get into the same relationship patterns like over and over again. Like, why do I always date assholes? Like, oh, like there may be a reason for that, So I think one thing that you can do is just learn how to sort of emotionally process that hurt, and then hopefully it'll be, I mean, it's going to be harder, but each time it happens, it's understandably harder to like have faith in another person, and that's normal. The second thing that you can do is really look at the ways in which you're kind of selecting people, and is something going on in terms of the kind of person that you gravitate towards, or things like that. Do you ignore signs that the relationship isn't going well? There are a lot of other things that you can practically do, which I feel like is kind of a mean answer, but it's kind of, I mean, it's true, right? Like you were
It's
right
true
once and
though.
you were right again, and that's bad. That sucks. Okay. Um, can you do a day in the life video? I guess that's for me or you. I don't know what that
I
is.
have no idea. Maybe
Okay.
for you too.
What is that?
A day in the life is like a video where you just show your viewer the day in the life of like me. I wake up, I do this, I do that. Make it interesting. Maybe draw it out. Anything. Maybe it's for me. Actually, I don't know, but
Okay.
you could do it too.
Okay. Um. Okay. So let's. People have questions about a psychiatrist, psychosis.
Empathic explain.
I think that's not really. Is the experience for people with very high IQs similar? As in, are they mostly depressed and lonely? No. So one thing that is similar is that the U.S. Department of Defense did a study on their soldiers and found that soldiers who play video games have an IQ that's 10 to 20% higher than soldiers who don't play video games. So I
Video
do
gaming is
actually genuinely believe that gamers are that being very intelligent is actually a risk factor for video game addiction. And there's a very simple reason for that. It's not like super complicated. So I'll tell you guys. So I was early on, and when I started working with gamers, I was talking to a very particular a gamer, and I asked him, when did you like really like video games, and like how did you get into them? And the story they told me like blew my mind and has stuck with me ever since. And they said that so I was in the second grade, and I went to school, and my teacher gave me a math worksheet. And I knew how to do the math, so I did the worksheet, and then 10 minutes later, I went and I handed in the worksheet. And then I said, can I have the next one? And Lily, what do you think the teacher said?
What did she say?
What happens when you turn in your worksheet in class? What do you think?
No.
Yeah, that's exactly
No.
what she says. She says, this is the worksheet for the day. We're going to do another one tomorrow, right? That's how school works. Like you have a lesson plan for the day. And if you're a smart kid and you finish it early, then you get to sit and wait and read quietly by yourself. And then he would go home and he would play a video game. And Lily, he would beat level 1 of the video game. And then what happened next? What happens after you beat level 1?
You go to level 2?
Absolutely.
Keep playing?
Absolutely, right? So like a video game is something that paces its challenge to your capabilities. And school moves at the rate of the slowest kid. And so I think that like very early on, like people, like smart kids gravitate towards video games because they actually get challenged in a game the way they can't in real life. So when I work, like I was recently working with a kid, and my solution to his video game addiction, because he's a big time, anyway, he's a successful player in a particular game, is to like hook him up with an internship at MIT. So I called a buddy of mine who has a startup at MIT and was like, hey, can you like take this kid? He's 15. They're like, we have 600 applicants for interns. And I was like, yeah, but this kid's different. He's special. And the kid goes to do the internship, and now he's not playing many games anymore because he realizes, oh, there's actually like really cool, challenging stuff in the world that I can engage in. And like when you do that, that's how you kind of get free from your addiction. But I do think that generally speaking, I see a lot of correlation between intelligence and video game addiction. Although I don't necessarily think that intelligence leads to being depressed and lonely, because I would say that, for example. So I guess I didn't mention this in my bio, but I'm faculty at Harvard Medical School, and I trained there, and a lot of people there are smart, but I don't think that their average experience is to be depressed and lonely. I think gamers who are very intelligent oftentimes are depressed and lonely. But that's because like games give them what real life can't, and as they move away from real life and gravitate more towards games, then they become depressed and lonely. So I don't think it's just the IQ. It's like a combination of like the way that gaming influences your life. Just trying to see if... Okay. Did you talk to her about dharma? I don't think so. Sort of. So dharma is something I talk a lot about in stream, and it's the Sanskrit word for duty or responsibility. I sort of talked to her about it because I told her... So... but I didn't talk about it explicitly because I didn't think it was kind of just random. I didn't think it was relevant. But
You mentioned it.
Yeah. So what I did talk about, Lily, is like, why do you stream?
Because I like it and it's a good job.
Yeah. So you like it and it's a good job.
Yeah.
And what is it? What do you like about streaming?
I think it's a very unique job that I hate the word lucky now, but I'm lucky to have, and I don't want to waste it. I don't want to waste the opportunity.
Yeah, but what do you like about it?
I like talking with my chat. I like talking about feeling. I like drawing, playing games.
Yeah.
So
Do you think that is there some part of you that feels like streaming is you're making the world a slightly better place?
ooh, 60% maybe. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to
So
think that.
it is, right? So I don't think you're ready to accept that. But I think earlier on you were there.
Yeah.
And so now her mental patterns have returned. So like now she's back to, but it's good that you can recognize it's 60%.
I know. Yeah.
But that's dharma, right? So I think we talked about it, but we just didn't call it what it was. I mean, I
Okay.
think you're genuinely connecting with a lot of people, and
Yeah,
that's
I
why they
do.
come back. Okay, so I think those are all the questions that sort of relate to you. I mean, there are all kinds of questions about porn addiction and stuff, but I don't think they're related to you.
Okay.
Um, but yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot, Lily.
No, thank you. This was really great. I'm
Yeah,
really happy I got to talk to you. Yeah,
yeah,
thank
and
you so much.
I really enjoyed talking to you, and you know, if you want to talk more practically, if you ever want to talk again, just let us know.
Okay.
And then the second thing is, at some point, I feel like I should help you a little bit more in terms of guidance, in terms of helping you understand how to wring out your sponge and how to absorb good stuff.
That'd be nice.
And like actually like give you something concrete that you can do. But let's start with the meditation technique, and
Okay.
let me know how that works for you. And
All right.
there's a decent chance it's going to be very hard to do, like because you just won't remember. So we
Okay.
can problem solve around that too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, actually, let me ask you real
Oh,
quick. So do
sure.
you guys like? Oh, wait, but did you all understand? You guys can do that meditation technique too. Do you guys want a different one, or are we good? That's meditation. What we told her to, you should just do that. Okay. Lily, can I teach you one more meditation technique?
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry for almost hanging up on. Okay, but we're not done with you yet. So I want you to. We're gonna do. Let me think. Do you guys want to do something easy or anxiety provoking? And Lily, if you have to go, I can just teach this to stream directly.
No,
Or
I have.
okay.
I want to be here.
Anxiety provoking? Okay. So we're going to do Om chanting then. So I'm going to teach you how to chant.
Okay.
And we're going to do Om chanting. So Om is composed of 3 syllables. Ah, oo, and And this is going to be weird.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to chant. So I'll demonstrate once. Ah. Man, it's hard to do
Sorry.
chanting
Okay,
after I've
well,
talked for a couple of hours. No, it's
this
fine.
is anxiety spiking. Holy crap.
Yeah, right? So this is the goal of the technique, is that when all of you guys do it, like the thought of doing it does what for you?
It makes me embarrassed. And like I don't want to do it on stream.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. Right? So if we're going to teach you how to deal to make your anxiety melt away, we have to make you anxious first. Right? So it's going to work well, trust me. Trust me.
2:46 p.m. I got.
Do you need to go?
No, I'm joking. I'm just making a joke because I.
Okay. Okay, so it's Okay. So yeah, but chanting is, and you guys should do this at home too, okay? Chanting is not about sound, it's about vibration.
Okay.
So close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Deep breath in. Okay. Are you feeling vibration?
Yeah, I'm so nervous right now. This is
Good.
so
That's fine.
weird.
That's completely fine. Don't worry about it. So we're going to do it again, okay? So deep breath in. I'm going to listen to you do it on your own, okay? So deep breath in.
Okay.
Eyes closed. No more opening your eyes for the rest of the practice.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay. Deep breath in. Begin.
Sorry.
That's okay. Laugh.
Okay, let me sit properly.
Embarrassment.
This
Good.
is-
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, I got it.
Deep breath in. Good. Keep going. One breath.
Again?
Yep. Full breath. Go. Okay, good. Now do 5 breaths in 5 rounds.
Again?
Yeah. Can you hear me? I said do
Yeah.
5 breaths. So I want you to take 5 deep breaths. I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to do it with you, okay?
Okay.
We're going to do it together. So
Okay.
we're going to do 5 breaths. So okay, and
Okay.
focus on maximizing the sensation of vibration that you feel in
Okay.
your body. Where do you
Alright.
feel it in your body when you chant?
Like the chest here.
Okay, so maximize the sense of that vibration, okay? I may cough because my throat is dry, but we're going to do 5 breaths. Chat, we're going to do it too, okay? Okay. Do it with me, Lily.
Oh, I have to
We're
do
gonna
it with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're going to do it together.
Together.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So deep breath in. Again. Good. Last one, make it count.
Cool.
Where's the anxiety?
I don't really feel it. Well,
Where'd it go?
I don't know. It left. It does. I feel. Yeah.
You feel what?
Calmer. Like just calm.
Like
Very
that was,
calm.
but let's be clear, right? That was fucking weird.
That was weird, but it. I guess by the third, fourth time, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad.
Yes.
I just do it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's
So
not that bad.
longer breaths, more vibration,
Okay.
7 rounds on your own, and
Okay.
Twitch chat too. Okay, but that's the whole point. Is we want to make you were super anxious. We've been talking about all kinds of stuff. How
Yeah.
Albert was unfaithful, how feelings, hatred, venom, and you have not hesitated. Comes to this, I'm anxious. And you just got through it.
Yeah.
You just got through it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good job.
Thank you. That was.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Bye.
Adios.